So are you getting the mails etc. जो कुछ भी आना है. मनु ने पूछ के गया, is there any problem? Are the videos working fine? Fine. There is no voice issue in the video etc. Give me a past year question booklet. So this was one question in the 2016 paper. How will you approach this question? We have done yesterday. A geological structure is a dominant on the landform and it is reflected them. How do we approach? It is talking about structure or a Davissian theory. It is talking about the structure, not time. So whose law is this? Thornbury. So how will be the introduction? Maybe you can, there are two ways of writing this introduction in this. In this introduction, one way is whether criticize Davis. For criticizing Davis, you will have to write uska statement that according to Davis, the landform is an outcome of structure, process and time. But he gave too much importance to time, which was then later on criticized by numerous geomorphologists, and they said that the most important is structure. Structure matlab what is the rock made up of. Fine. And then enough, क्योंकि हमें ये लिखना है 150 words में, इसमें 20-30 words are there. So this is the fundamental law of geomorphology which was given by Thornbury, and then you come to the body. So in the body, what will be your approach? You have to define first what is structure. Then you will have to give the examples. Once you tell the structure, automatically इसमें आ जाएगा. There are two types of rocks. One is the hard rock and the other is the soft rock. In this hard and soft rock, next you will talk about the differential erosion of hard and soft rocks. And you will tell how the processes are operating on this, and then you will give an example. The best example is which plateau? Peninsular plateau. Bas, khatam answer. Conclusion is an example itself, right? There is no need of conclusion. Or if you want to conclude, you can conclude that other than the structure, processes also play an important role. Fine? Anything out of this. If you want to draw a diagram, we don't have a specific diagram for this, but if you want to draw a diagram, you can take the diagram. So एग्जाम में डायग्राम अगर ऐसे बना सकते हो तो वेरी फाइन, अदरवाइज one is the initial landform, the other is the present day landform. What we have shown ki the softer rocks have got eroded at a faster rate than the harder rocks. In the exam, try to make the diagram with the pen rather than pencil. Fine. You will save time. Secondly, contrast अच्छा लगता है black pen and blue pen का rather than the pencil. You can use brown color also. You can use, except for red, green, you can use any color. So will you write and show this to me? Follow this general rule of So the same question has been repeated again and again. Language may have changed. Landscape is a function of structure, process and stage. Critically analyze. देखो critically analyze यहाँ पे discuss. Why? Because this is a true statement. Other statement in the 2018 is landscape. Landscape is a function of structure, yes, process and stage. Why the questions critically analyze? Because यहाँ पे you have to criticize Davis. Because the stage is not that important. What is important is the structure and the processes that are operating. Fine. इससे पहले climate, slope and rock structure influence evolution of channels. Evolution means erosion of river channels. क्या? Climate, slope and structure. So ये सब किस में आता है? Process and structure. Again UPSC is asking you why structure and processes are important rather than the stage. That is what I say. Questions are more or less repeated. 2016, 2017, 2018. The same question is coming but with the change in the language. If you go some years back, attempt the classification of geomorphic processes. Geomorphic processes, glaciated, erode the endogenetic, exogenetic, and then exogenetic में glaciation, there is rainfall, then wind. We have not done this, but are you getting how to approach the question? Don't get afraid by looking at the questions here. Again, the same question has been repeated as it is 2005 में. Structure is a dominant control factor for the evolution of the landforms. Same ही है. Structure is the dominant control on the landforms. उसमें लिखा है evolution of the landforms. That is why prepare this 7-8 laws which we are doing. ये अभी तक most complex laws we have done. इसके बाद ये laws are more or less very simple. So structure will determine how much erosion is going to occur. What is the other place, that other thing that is going to determine the rate of erosion is the processes. Processes, if the same process is acting on the two different rocks, then the hard rock will be more resistant to erosion. जो soft rock है, जिसमें maybe chalk है, जिसमें the limestone is there, it will be eroded much faster. So processes also will play a role. And if the process is acting, we have seen in the photos, can you distinguish which process is acting? If there is a soft alluvial soil, means you will say, this area has experienced a riverine erosion. If there is moraine, very very soft soil, jo whitish color hai, you will say yes, it has experienced glaciated erosion. If you find black soil, you will say what it has experienced, volcanic activities. So you can determine with the help of processes. अगर रेत है, if there is sand, you know that past में also this climate has been the desert type of climate. So you can properly distinguish the different processes that are acting on the landform, and therefore can I say geological processes also, like the geological structure, play an important role, but geological processes leave their distinct imprint on the landform. What I told you in the second lecture, that agar aap peninsular India mein when you go, you will find certain mountains and you will be surprised to see that they are having a glaciated evidence, glacier ka evidence. Why? Because if the normal mountain looks like this, if this is the normal mountain, what will be the glacial ka evidence? You are removing one scoop, you are removing other scoop, so a normal mountain will get converted into mountain which will be like this, as if somebody has eroded the sides of the mountain. Getting it? So, or you will better understand it here. ये है अगर normal mountain, so the glaciated mountain, किसी ने यहाँ से निकाला, किसी ने यहाँ से निकाला, so this entire part will be eroded due to glaciers, this entire part will be eroded due to glaciers, this will be removed, what will remain is only this shaded line which I will call now as a mountain. बाकी सब जगह it will be whitish it will be covered by ice, or it will be having a lake. So this will be eroded, this will be eroded, and this is how the mountain may look like. If you go to Vaishno Devi, and you will see numerous caves. Why? Because if this is the mountain, some part of this mountain was having limestone. If this was the limestone, is limestone a hard rock or a soft rock? Soft rock. Limestone, kabhi bhi doubt hai, you remember limestone is nothing but chuna. It is a soft rock. So that soft rock, when it mixes with water, it gets eroded. And therefore, wherever we have limestone ka history, what happens? Rainwater will go down through the gaps inside the mountain, because and as soon as it comes in the contact with the limestone, it will start eroding the limestone. Whatever the limestone is there, it will start eroding. So generally the regions which are having limestone ka rocks, they will be having big caves, and therefore Vaishno Devi mein you find caves, and on the caves limestone or calcium will start dripping from the caves. So you will find something like projections, what we will call it as stalactites and stalagmites inside the caves, or pani tapakta rahega. Present is key to the past. This was once a karst topography. This, had there been no rainfall, would this limestone would have been destroyed? No. Limestone gets destroyed only because water reacts with calcium in the limestone rocks. Limestone is white in color because it is rich in calcium. Calcium will react with water to form an acid. What is the name of acid? Carbonic acid. And then that acid will erode away the rocks. Fine? That is why a little bit calcium is added in your toothpaste also, so that weak acid will destroy the germs. Nowadays, gel mein silica is added. Again, more concentrated form of calcium, because they will destroy the germs. But बहुत ज़्यादा brush करने के बाद enamel भी खराब हो जाता है. Therefore, sensitive, Pepsodent sensitive, because it has less calcium. All this is erosion only. वहाँ पे rocks का erosion हो रहा है, यहाँ पे teeth का erosion हो रहा है. Fine. What is whitening of the teeth? Whitening of the teeth is they will put in microcrystals in it. Why doctors don't recommend? Only advertisement industry recommends, because if you have microcrystals, they will rub and ultimately they will remove the protective layer of your teeth. Obviously, the teeth will look white, but you will have a problem of sensitivity. Getting it? क्या होता है उसमें? Plastics, microbeads. Getting it? So the same thing is happening here. So that is why present is key to the past climatic conditions, as well as even if the present climatic condition is there, it is going to have a distinct imprint. So during Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization, the rainfall was very high in West India. So if you dug deep in the northwest India, whether Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, you will find big river valleys which have gone dry below. But today, this is a desert or semi-desert region. So sand you will find on the top. नीचे जाओगे, you will find the different kind. So present is key to the past, and therefore the next law of geomorphology is Geomorphic processes, geomorphic processes operate at different rate operate at different rate and therefore earth earth has different relief features. Earth has different relief features. Earth surface has different relief feature या earth has different relief features. This is one your past year question का language. यही पूछा है discuss. Or the real law is take down official language means real language. To a large degree, earth surface possesses relief. Relief मतलब change in the height. Earth surface possesses relief because the geomorphic processes operate at different rates या differential rates. Fine. This is what Thornbury said. पहला वाला is what UPSC said. दोनों का meaning is same. Fine. What you are going to write now?
फिर उसका डिफरेंशियल रेट पे इरोजन होता है तो मिडल में मैच्योर में वो यू शेप बना रही है और ओल्ड में ऑक्सफोर्ड लेक बना रही है तो तीन थर्ड डिग्री रिलीफ फीचर्स उस एक ही एजेंट ऑफ इरोजन में दिए हैं.
This is what you can write. क्यों दिए है एजेंट ऑफ इरोजन में different. This is the question is asking you कि you can answer in both the ways. Geomorphic processes, relief earth has relief features because geomorphic processes operate at different rate. So you have to explain first what is process, then you have to explain why they operate at different rates. Don't worry if your approach is his way or if your approach is something else. If your approach is this, you can concentrate only on one agent erosion and talk in the mountainous region because uska speed is greater, uska erosion capacity is greater, it will form deep valleys and then it will erode the mountains. Then it will do deposition and depositions it will form plains at some other place. Fine, this is one way of approaching. Or you can say reverse, water will act differently at different place, wind will act differently at different place and thus present different relief features. And both the answers are right answers. Fine. You do in the examination whatever you feel is easy. Fine. So there is two ways of approaching. Earth has different relief because maybe wind has less power than water and therefore wind cannot erode as compared to water. Or there is one way of approaching. Water has different power at different places and therefore uska erosion capacity changes. Because uska erosion capacity changes, therefore the landform ka height keeps on changing. Jitna zyada erosion, the more the erosion, the height of the landform will be less. Less the erosion, the height of the landform will be greater. But what is going to determine how the erosion rate differs? Structure. So you have to, the crux of the question is geomorphic processes operate at different rate because structure is different. Fine? Because the structure is also different and therefore understanding. See, today's lecture, yesterday first 3 lectures are complex. Uske baad things will be just an application of these topics. Interior of the earth hum padhenge. UPSC has asked it once in 1998. Itna easy questions nahi aayega. Then uske baad it is continental drift, sea floor spreading, which you are going to study in GS here also. Fir se complexity badhegi when we will come to Davis and Penck. Fine, but this you will find very, very complex. That you will find easy because you would have learned many things before that. You will start understanding the next topics once we start, once you do all the laws and start applying them. Fine, but answer 150 words you can write it here also. Why we are doing this? Because from 2010 questions are coming from this area, not from the other topics. Getting it? So you can take down. The earth has different relief features in the form of earth has different relief features in the form of mountains, plateaus, plains. In the form of mountains, plateaus, plains, or the shapes of the rocks differ, because, or the shapes of the rocks differ because the intensity and the type of the geomorphic processes, intensity as well as the type of the geomorphic processes vary from region to region. Vary from region to region. Type of geomorphic processes vary from region to region. This variation may be due to, this variation, full stop के बाद, this variation may be due to different climatic conditions, or due to structure, or due to structure. Or due to different structure. Look at the different climatic conditions first. If this is a mountain, fine, and this is a profile, उसके बाद there is a sea level. This is how the landform will pass from youth, mature and old age. Fine, youthful stage, mature stage, and very near to the sea level, the old age. In the youthful stage, yesterday we have seen the speed of the river is greater. Because the speed of the river is greater, it can carry large amount of sediments, and because it can carry large amount of sediments, so sediments will rub the ocean, rub the sea, the river bed. After rubbing the river bed, they will carve out the river bed and make the river bed very deep. Now, if this is a river bed, कल ही मैंने बताया था, फिर से I am repeating this, and if the river that is flowing here, understand, and if this is the stone, will this part of a river, water, यहाँ पे भी पानी है, यहाँ पे भी पानी है, फाइन, नीचे भी पानी है, and we will call this entire thing as a river. Which part is going to experience friction? All this part. So I am doing it in blue color. All this part is going to experience friction. Friction reduces the speed or increases the speed? Reduces the speed. Is this part experiencing friction? No. So यहाँ पे this part of a river will be flowing with great speed. Sides of the river will be flowing with comparatively lesser speed. Getting it? If you have gone swimming in the river, you will note that swimming in the middle is dangerous. Generally, boats और सब डूब जाती है when they go into the middle. Why? And therefore, whenever you are swimming in the river, the law is never go straight crossing the channel. Always go this way, so that automatically you will increase the speed and then the speed will decrease. हमें इससे swimming से लेना देना नहीं. We are concerned with the stone. What is going to happen with the stone? Because this is flowing with lesser speed, the stone will be here, and because ऊपर का part is flowing with a greater speed, ऊपर का part of the stone will start circulating. So what will happen? Stone will go in a circular manner because नीचे का part is holding it and ऊपर का part is making it move. It will not move forward because नीचे का part is holding. It will not remain at the same position because ऊपर का part is moving with a greater speed. But what will happen? वो घूमेगा. It will move in a circular manner, just like drilling machine. Getting it? And what do the drilling machine do? It will start making hole. And because of making hole, this valley will ultimately become very V-shaped valley. This process is, you don't have to know the process, you just have to know the name, is known as pothole drilling. This is even in GS. Why the V-shaped valleys are formed? Due to pothole drilling. What is pothole drilling? Stone ghumna, just like a drilling machine. Why? I have explained you the process. It is not required for the exam. Getting it? Doubt here? So, here, because of the pothole drilling, what we will find in this, we get very deep, narrow, V-shaped valleys. Fine? But as we come here, the work of a river is, this is the side view, this is the side view, this is also the side view, but this is cross-sectional view. As we come here, the river will start depositing, and therefore V-shaped valleys will be converted into U-shaped valleys. And as we come here, the U-shaped valleys will become more and more shallow, and they will become very broad. And unka height will decrease, it will be obviously near the sea level. So this is what you will see in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. This is what you will see in the lower parts of Uttarakhand after Rishikesh, Haridwar. This is what you will see in UP, Bihar and Assam. Very wide rivers. Here rivers are never wide, they are very deep. So these are gorgeous. Why is this? Because processes are different. यहाँ पे the major process is erosion. यहाँ पे the major process is deposition. Fine? Second example. ये सब लिखना कुछ भी नहीं है, ये सब you have, I am giving you to understand the process. There is a stone in the desert. Fine, this is a stone in the desert. Which is the major agent of erosion in the desert? Wind. Water is there? No, there is a wind. River and wind में the or river, wind and glacier में the difference is glacier has one specific direction, river has one specific direction, wind keeps on changing the directions. Because the wind keeps on changing the direction, it can erode the rock from all the sides. If it is blowing in this direction, it will erode this side of the rock. If it is blowing in the other direction, it will erode the back side. If it is moving in this direction, it will erode the front side. So, wind does not have any specific direction. Getting it? Wind keeps on changing. And the second major difference is, wind is an active agent of erosion only near the ground. As we go up, wind ka intensity reduces. Getting it? Wind, erosion, wind cannot do. Erosion is done by the particles that are carried by the wind. Similarly, river cannot do erosion. River ke liye erosion karta hai the particles that are carried by the river, that is the stone. But wind cannot lift a big stone and go flow. Wind will take small sand particles and flow. Fine? So, wind is an active agent of erosion only 180, 150 centimeters या maximum 2 feet from the ground. उसके बाद it loses उसका power of erosion. Getting it? Have you ever seen कि you are walking, wind is blowing and big stones are coming and hitting you? नहीं, very small stones will go into the eyes. Fine, especially if you are small. If you become big, if you go into the top of a building, wind we cannot carry that stone except अगर cyclone है तो. Fine, sand particles. So what happens? Only the lower part of the rock is getting eroded. And because the lower part of rock is getting eroded from all the sides, this rock which was initially rounded over the period of time will get converted into a rock. This only lower part is eroded and it looks like a mushroom, and we will call this as a mushroom rock. So if there is a mushroom rock, if you go to any place and that place is getting very heavy rainfall, but you see a mushroom rock there, you being a geography student, can you apply present is key to the past? Means in the past this region was desert. Getting? Process was different, therefore rocks are different. Getting it? So this is how different relief features are there. And third is glaciers. ये है river, ये है wind, and third is glacier. Glacier is huge mass of ice. River में stones cannot float. What is the property of river or wind? The property of river or wind is जितना ज़्यादा speed it can carry large amount of sediments, जितना speed कम it will drop the sediments and it will carry smaller amount of sediments. So in the river there is difference in the sediments it can carry. It can carry big stones only if the speed is greater. It can carry small stones if the speed decreases. If the speed further decreases, it will drop the small stones, it will be carrying only sand. And when the speed further decreases near the sea coast, sand se bhi chota particle it can carry. So delta is always made up of, a sea beach is always made up of very small sands. Fine? But if you go to Uttarakhand, you will find big stones. Why? Because carrying capacity depends upon speed and strength. But glacier में ऐसा कोई difference नहीं है. Glacier में big, small stones are all carried by the glacier because it is solid. So a glacier is coming, बीच में आदमी है, कुर्सी है, stone है, rock है, sand है, सब glacier लेके जाएगा. It will not differentiate. Wind will look at the stone. It may carry a man with himself, but stone it cannot carry. River it may carry a man, but stone को bifurcate करके फिर से निकल जाएगा. Glacier cannot do because matter solid है. So glacier will carry all the particles along with itself. When the glacier comes down, you will find glaciers are having different kind of materials. So glacier is carrying different types of rocks along with itself. Fine. But what happens? Glacier melts during the summer season, or glacier melts. In geography, as a geography student, you should now know that glacier melts even after certain specific ice age. So Pleistocene ice age के बाद most of the glaciers of the world have melted. Once they get melted, it gets converted into river. अब river वो बड़े stones carry नहीं कर सकता. पानी निकल जाएगा, water will drain away. So if a glacier comes in this region, there is an end of an ice age, it gets converted into water, and what it is carrying then inside is exposed. Getting it? So what do we find in the glaciated region? We'll find some of the rocks which are so confusingly placed that you cannot tell कि ये कैसा था. There can be a big rock, there can be small rock, उसके ऊपर small rock, उसके ऊपर big rock. And this rocks, I'm just giving you an example, these rocks are known as erratics. Why erratics? Because a geomorphologist who started studying first thought कि ये landform कैसे बना. They could not come to a conclusion. They got irritated. And therefore, because it does not have any law of physics, इन्होंने नाम ही दे दिया erratics. Why? Because once they were in the glaciers, they were under force. Because they were under force, they got stuck to each other. And once the glacier melted, rocks जैसे थे वैसे ही रह गए. And they formed a landform. And these are known as erratics. So, process is different, landforms are different. Getting it? This is what you have to write here in the answer with some of the examples. Easiest example is mushroom rock. Easiest example is erratics. So that is an example of Pleistocene ice age glaciation. Pleistocene ice age glaciation is there. That is why. Telangana ho, Maharashtra ho, you will find, ya Karnataka ho, you will find these things, but of very old rocks. But you will find the best erratics in Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. Glaciated topography. Even today there are glaciers. Right? Getting it? So can I continue? There is no need of diagram. मैं बनाने बोलूँगा तभी बनाना. Will include some points, then only will make the diagrams. Fine? So next. The processes operate with varying intensity. The processes operate with varying intensity because operate with varying intensity. अब intensity क्यों different है? Intensity strength because structure is different. Strength of the processes is different because structure is different. You cannot erode this, but you can easily erode this because it is a soft rock. So processes operate with varying intensity because lithology or rock structure changes. Rock structure changes. Rock structure changes. The hard rock is eroded easily. Hard rock is eroded easily. Yes, is eroded easily if the speed of a river is greater. If speed of a river is greater, which is observed in the mountainous regions. Getting it? We are talking about the erosion of the hard rock, but kahan pe? In the mountainous region. On the other hand, the same hard rock will be more resistant to erosion in the plains. Same hard rock will be more resistant to erosion in the plains dividing the river channel. Dividing the river channel. And hence the relief will be different. Relief will be different. Draw this diagram. Relief will be different. What is this relief? V-shaped valley. Are you understanding this diagram? There is a big rock, water is coming, and because it cannot erode, because उसका speed नहीं है plains में, उसका erosion capacity नहीं है, so क्या हो रहा है? पानी different channels में shift हो रहा है. Getting it? See, there is a river which is flowing, and it is coming now into the plain region. Because it is coming in the plain region, imagine a condition कि यहाँ these are very hard rocks in the plain region. Had this been mountainous region, the speed of a river is so great कि ये rocks को ले जाती. Now the speed is not there, so what it will do? It will get divided. After that, it will get divided. Here, it will get divided. And this channel is what is known as a braided channel. And you study this in GS. Only example, Brahmaputra has largest riverine islands in the world. Now, these are nothing but islands. बाकी सब जगह पानी है. Example, Majuli Island. This is an example of an breaded chai. Braid, choti. It is always intertwined. So braided channel हमेशा mix होता है. That is why Bogeybill Bridge was such a major construction. What happens in Brahmaputra? River becomes so wide कि यहाँ तक तो river is normal, अरुणाचल तक. But once it comes to Brahmaputra, Assam, it is a flat. Lower Assam is a very flat. Assam की topography in the lower region of Assam is same like Great Plains. It is a very flat surface. So when it comes in the flat surface, the speed of Brahmaputra has decreased. And Brahmaputra is carrying so large amount of sediments. Arunachal se directly it comes to Assam. So it deposits big rocks. Once it deposits big rocks, next current जो है पानी का वो change करता है direction and it may go in any direction. So there is a place in Brahmaputra जहाँ पे there is a world record of river shifting उसका course in 24 hours by 9 kilometers. Means river is flowing in this particular direction. Fine. Next day, 9 kilometers in this particular direction. What is the problem of this? Because of this, you cannot do any kind of a planning activity. You know, chalo, river is always flowing here, you construct a house here. Ab it has shifted 9 kilometers. Means it will go through your house. That is why Brahmaputra is known as sorrow of Assam. Because any river which will shift, it will cause floods. Shifting its course means it's going in any direction it wants. That is not the case with Godavari. बाजू में रॉक्स है, इट कैनॉट इरोड पेनिनसुलर रॉक्स. गेटिंग इट? वो एक ही डायरेक्शन में जाएगी. और कोसी, सौरो ऑफ बिहार, द सेम थिंग. इट्स कमिंग फ्रॉम नेपाल कैरिंग लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ सेडिमेंट्स. इट कम्स टू द बिहार एंड it will shift उसका direction. So India and Nepal government to control the floods of Kosi make a very big dam. What does Kosi do? Again shifts उसका direction. That dam becomes useless. Then we have to extend one more dam here. Fine. Similarly was the case with Yamuna once upon a time. So those who are local in Delhi, you will see Britishers had constructed very bridges made up of iron to cross Yamuna. आज वो लोहा ब्रिज it is present near CP etc. वहाँ से ट्रेन जाती है, बसेस जाती है, या this thing comes. These are because Yamuna is to shift उसका direction. Then what the Britishers did? Britishers filled the Yamuna with big stones. And so that it shifted there. And on that flood plains of Yamuna, they constructed a planned city known as Luton's Delhi or New Delhi, with uska business district being Connaught Place. Otherwise, where the Connaught Place is there today was once a region where Yamuna used to flow. Getting it? Now that is the difference in the engineering, how the technology can use it. So this is the example. Process दोनों जगह same है, but structure differs, उसका power differs. Fine? Again, next point. The processes may also differ. The processes may also differ because of changes in the climatic conditions. Because of the changes in the climatic conditions. Changes in the climatic conditions. Hot and humid climates cause more weathering and erosion of the rocks. And therefore, topography or relief is generally flat, is generally flat. While the cold climates will have comparatively higher topographies, comparatively higher topography because of less weathering, because of less weathering. Less weathering. So this is true even for India. Which part of Himalayas get more rainfall? The one which is on the west or one which is on the east? East. So if we consider the Himalayas, this is how the Himalayas are in India. So we will see if one part of the Himalayas is western, one part is eastern Himalayas. Can you see the shape of the Himalayas is such that this western Himalaya in the state of Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal, they are very far away from the Tropic of Cancer, and this is very near to the Tropic of Cancer. So this receives very heavy rainfall. It is also near to the Bay of Bengal Sea. So this receives very heavy rainfall. This receives comparatively less rainfall, and सारे बड़े mountains इस section में in India as compared to the other section. One reason is vegetation, one reason is climate. There is another reason also, that is the geosyncline, but this is also one reason. Where is the biggest mountains of India? In this region. K2 Godwin Austen, Annapurna, Mount Everest. These are comparatively smaller with the exception of Kanchenjunga. But Kanchenjunga is in the temperate region, not in the tropics. This is very, very small hills, this part of the Himalayas, right? But itna exam mein likhne ka scope nahi hota, it's just for understanding, right? As the climatic conditions change, विंटर में रेनफॉल नहीं होगा, स्नोफॉल होगा. स्नोफॉल, वाई रेनफॉल? जेट स्ट्रीम आएगा तो स्नोफॉल. कश्मीर में रेनफॉल और स्नोफॉल. सो इट इज कोल्ड क्लाइमेट. It will result into, I told you, precipitation. So precipitation is rainfall and snowfall. If the outside temperature is less than 0 degrees Celsius, precipitation will be snow. If it is more than 0 degrees Celsius, it will be rain. So if you go to Kashmir, what is the outside temperature? Less than 0 degrees Celsius. So it will result into snowfall. As you go up to a greater height, temperature decreases. So if cloud is formed very near to the surface, rainfall. If cloud is formed very high from the surface, snowfall. उतना दूर जाने के लिए हीट नहीं है तो माउंटेन्स तो है. एयर थोड़ी टनल से जाएगी. एयर विल बी फोर्स टू राइज अप बाय द माउंटेन्स एंड इट विल कूल. इफ देयर इज अ माउंटेन बैरियर, व्हाट विल हैपन टू द एयर? इट विल बी राइजिंग अपवर्ड्स. गेटिंग इट? नो. Glacier will cause erosion, snowfall will never cause erosion. There is a difference between glacier and snow. Glacier is ice and snow is snow. क्या difference है दोनों में? आपके फ्रिज में क्या है? डिप फ्रीजर. Snow tray, ice tray. Ice tray. So what is ice? Ice is always hard. Snow is always soft. Glacier causes erosion because वो ice है. And ice is always hard. जो ice cubes बनते हैं, हम कभी नहीं कहते snow cubes. We call it as ice cubes. That is the difference between snow and ice. Snow is very, very soft. You will enjoy the snowfall. Ice you will never enjoy because ice is ole. Hail जो गिरता है, hailstorm is ice particles. Snow never here. It is fine. That is the difference. So snow is never harmful. It is the ice that is harmful. क्यों बनता है ice from the snow? When anything continuously melts and freezes, so it will get converted into solid crystalline form, what we will call as ice. So if you are having old type of fridges at your here rooms, you see tray के नीचे snow banega, which, and cubes will be in that box. That box के नीचे there is snow. So frost free refrigerator में नहीं है, but without frost free refrigerator, पुराने refrigerator you had ice, snow forming नीचे automatically due to cooling. And ice कहाँ पे? When you take melted part, that is water, put it into the tray and then put it in that, then that gets converted into ice. That is the basic difference. Understanding? Hindi में there is no difference, it is barf only, barf का गोला. But in English, it should be snow का गोला, because we take the ice, we crush it, and then it becomes soft, then we put that all things thing. Otherwise, snow you cannot eat. You can eat ice, you cannot eat. You can eat snow. Chuski I am saying about. So, getting it? As the climatic condition changes, which may be due to shifting of continents, or maybe due to height. Height also results into change in the climatic condition. As you go up, it starts getting cooled. You go from Delhi to any hill station, climate changes, or due to height. The processes operating will differ. And therefore relief features will differ. Getting it? So processes are ultimately determined by what? Structure. So conclusion. The difference in the relief features on the Earth's surface, is not just due to processes alone. But also due to the structure. Processes alone, but also due to the structure. But the entire landform on the Earth's surface is an outcome of either endogenetic processes or exogenetic processes. The endogenetic processes such as volcanism. Before I dictate you this line, what is happening on the Earth? It is nothing but a fight between endogenetic processes, जो Earth के नीचे से are coming, and exogenetic processes, which are coming from the atmosphere. If the endogenetic processes are dominant, height of the landform will be high. If the exogenetic processes are dominant, the height of the landform will be less. So what we see in the Himalayas, though the Himalayas are getting eroded every day, still we can conclude that Himalayas ka height is increasing. Iska matlab which forces are dominant? Endogenetic. Plate tectonics is more important than river erosion. Isliye the height of the Himalayas is increasing. Once upon a time, there will be some time, after some years, endogenetic force will stop operating. Indian plate will stop moving. The height of the Himalayas will become stable. Once the height of the Himalayas will become stable, there is no endogenetic force. So, exogenetic force will erode and thus the height of the Himalayas will again reduce. But it will take large amount of time. इसलिए डेविस कहता है structure, process and time. Fine? That is why we follow Davis. Getting it? UPSC का syllabus is remember Davisian. Indian geography is mostly Davisian. We don't follow Penck. क्योंकि Penck has written everything in German language and उसका translation डेविस के followers ने जानबूझ के wrong किया so that डेविस को follow करेंगे लोग and Penck का criticism करेंगे. ये भी एक politics था. Remember, all the Penck का books which were translated, इसलिए Penck की theory किसी को समझ में नहीं आती. Nobody understands Penck की theory because the followers of Davis only translated Penck in English and they translated it all wrong so that Penck will get criticized and Davis will be the hero. Fine? So this is what has happened. इसलिए nobody in the world follows Penck. They write only in conclusion कि yes, Penck was right. But we study Davis. Getting it? Because all the translations have occurred long time. अब nobody is interested. Now Germany is not interested in translating in English because Davis and Penck are old. अब आ रहा है सब computer modeling, systems analysis, but not in our syllabus. There is no syllabus में systems analysis in geomorphology. It is only in human geography. Fine? So, endogenetic processes will increase the height of the landforms, to build up mountains, valleys, and the exogenetic processes will destroy these landforms. Exogenetic processes will destroy these landforms to form featureless plains. No features, no mountains, no valleys, ऐसा featureless plains. Fine. Right from Lahore till Calcutta, if you go, you will find कुछ नहीं, featureless है, पूरी जमीन flat है. You can easily see the horizon, sky touching the land because it is featureless. या दूर में खेत दिखेंगे या trees दिखेंगी. You go to peninsular India, you cannot see the horizon. At the horizon, either you will see mountain or hills. That is the difference. Why? Because this is featureless peneplain. Peninsular India is uneven topography, rock, structure. Getting it? Thus, each geomorphic process develops its own characteristic. Each geomorphic process develops its own characteristics on the landforms. Develop its own characteristics on the landforms. Tell me, is the climate changing continuously? So when the climate is changing, process is changing. Initially the earth was formed due to endogenetic processes. Then the exogenetic processes started reducing the earth का height. But this processes, कभी desert काम करता है, winds, कभी वो climate, there is heavy rainfall, then there is a less rainfall, then there is sometimes ice age, glaciers come. So what the processes keep on changing? Fine, and processes change हुआ तो landforms का shape will keep on changing. Fine. So the today's geomorphology, is it simple or is it complex? Why? Because there is continuous change, and therefore the next law is, and see, except for the first two laws, बाकी सब interrelated है. अब बहुत आसान है think करना. Fine. So for except for the first two laws, that is Davis वाला law and structure वाला law, बाकी के सबके आंसर एक जैसे दिखेंगे. More or less you can write in your own language also. You have to understand the crux. So next, complexity. Complexity. This also has been your past year question. Complexity of geomorphic evolution is more complex, is more common. Complexity of geomorphic evolution is more common. Evolution is more common than simplicity. Complexity of geomorphic evolution is more common than simplicity. Take an example here, no need of writing, understand Africa. Africa was joined to South America. Fine. This was Madagascar. After Madagascar, this was India. After India, this was Australia. After Australia, this entire was Antarctica. This was a single continent once upon a time. All these continents started breaking and India started moving northwards. It was near the South Pole, so यहाँ पे था glacial process. As it came near the equator, यहाँ पे hot and humid climate was there. Fine. So process has changed. As it was going northwards, sometimes where it came, this was the region jahan se there was extreme volcanic eruption. India was like a boat traveling over the oceanic crust. Can continent float over the oceanic crust? Yes, that is a true thing. You will have to wait for half an hour while the continents float over the oceanic crust. Fine. So when it was going to the north, this was the region jahan se bahut zyada volcanoes were occurring. Only the western part of India came under that volcano, and therefore here we had volcanic eruptions. As it came up, so yahan pe the rock which formed was basalt. Now basalt normally is a very strong rock, but it becomes a very weak rock when it is put under the water for continuously long time. So when it came in near this region, it experienced very hot and humid climate, everyday rainfall, and the basalt got broken into, jahan jahan nadiyan ja rahi thi, it got broken into soil. Fine. And then when it came here in this position, actually this was not the shape of India. India was somewhat like this big continent. Fine. This was what it is. It was moving upwards. यहाँ पे whenever the Himalayas were formed, इतना जोर से collision हुआ with the Indian plate, between the Indian and Eurasian plate, that many part of India started developing crack. And this is how the crack developed in India. And after the development of crack, what happened? Again, when the second collision occurred, so the western part submerged and went below the sea, and the eastern part remained. Getting it? This was India going upwards. There was a collision, crack hua, and the western part went below the sea. Thoda bahut it went below the sea. And therefore, what we see today's India is Himalayas, but the crack is Western Ghats, Vindhyas, Satpuras, and then through the Aravallis. So for a person who was standing, who is like this, now it has gone below the sea, a person who is standing here on the western side of India, when he looks towards India from the western side, usko lagta hai it is a very continuous mountain. But it is not a mountain. What it is? A part of a plateau which has now gone below the sea. And therefore, Western Ghats. तो हम जीएस में पढ़ते हैं वेस्टर्न घाट्स की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, इट इज कंटिन्यूअस हैविंग ओनली 3 गैप्स, पाल घाट, बोर घाट, थाल घाट गैप. How can the mountain be continuous? Mountain cannot be continuous. It is always the plateau which is continuous or wall which is continuous. So Western Ghat looks like a wall here. And what has happened? There were numerous, once it went into the crack, फिर बारिश के बाद गोदावरी, कृष्णा, कावेरी, वाइगाई, महानदी and यहाँ पे नर्मदा and तापी. So river which was originating on the eastern side are flowing to the east, rivers which are originating on the western sides are flowing to the west. बीच में क्या है? Gap. And if we look at the atlas, you will find this is how our continental shelf, the most shallow part of the sea is like this. So यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा wide है. Why? Because entire part has went below the sea. When the life goes below the sea, remember, when the life goes below the sea, it gets converted, if the carbon is trapped, it gets converted into petroleum and natural gas. So where we get petroleum? Gujarat and Maharashtra coast. Central government ka hai, so we call this as Bombay High Basin High. Why in this parts? Getting it? Why not in Kerala? Because Kerala ka part did not go below the sea. It is only till Karnataka it went below the sea. What does the mythology say? Krishna migrated from UP to Gujarat. He set up a city known as Dwarka in Gujarat. And where is that Dwarka? Below the sea. Fine. What does geography say? Western part is submerged. It is below the sea. Getting it? So, Eastern Ghats is a different, they are fold mountains, just like Aravalis. For that, we will have to wait till continental drift theory. And after that, Godavari, etc. have made a valley. So what you find in peninsular India, जो part बचा हुआ है, glacial landform, volcanic landforms, equatorial topography, as well as present day topography. इसलिए the statement, complexity of geomorphic features is more common than simplicity, because whatever the land that is surviving today has gone through so many different कि कभी glaciers form हुए, कभी ये हुआ, कभी वो हुआ, and therefore most of the landform is not one cycle. Glacial cycle is there, wind का cycle is there, volcanic cycle is there, and therefore landform is polycyclic, not single cycle of erosion. Numerous are acting. Now imagine if we do continuously pollution like this, if we do like this, what is predicted? Monsoon is shifting eastwards. I have taught today in the GS also why monsoon is shifting eastward. If the monsoon shifts eastward, as India becomes a desert, wind will become an active agent of erosion. So जहाँ पे monsoon और river erosion के evidences है, future में there will be desert evidences. Again, it will become more complex. Where does it apply? Older landforms, not the new landforms. So the best example is peninsular plateau. New landforms will have only one feature. So the great plains of India are monotonous. They are not having features. They are not as complex as the peninsular plateau. Peninsular plateau is very complex. Canada is very complex. USA is very complex. For example, if I draw the map of USA, Canada, now this is a region of the world which was normal form, then came the Pleistocene Ice Age, and this was under the glaciers. Now when the glaciers, you already know, are very big agents of erosion, most powerful because of solid hai. The glaciers started moving in this region, and because the glaciers started moving in this region, they eroded the surface of USA, Canada to a greater extent. Because of erosion, depressions were formed. After the end of glacial period, ice melted, and in these depressions, lakes were formed. So in USA, Canada, you will find large number of lakes: Great Bear Lake, Great Slave Lake, Athabasca, Winnipeg, Winnipegosis, and ultimately the 5 Great Lakes of North America. So जितना you will go to the region जहाँ पे Pleistocene Ice Age का glaciation था, you will find numerous lakes. Norway, a country of Finland, a country of 1,000 lakes. USA, Canada, big lakes. You will not find lakes near us in the tropics. Why? Because we have not experienced glaciation. Glaciation hoga to hi depression will be formed, because glaciers will scratch the surface of the earth. In that, ice will get stuck, and if the ice gets stuck, once the ice melts, it gets converted into lakes. Getting it? Complex. Today, if you go ki why there are lakes, nobody will understand. You will think ki God has given them more water, it has given us less water. No, it is all climate ka change. Fine? Understood the concept? Iska answer will be a bit tough. Why? Because you will have to read right now one thinker ki there are monoprocess simple landforms, there are polycyclic landforms, and what are the polycyclic landforms. Short note may come in directly on the polycyclic landform. This UPSC has not asked, but it has asked many times, write a short note on the polycyclic landforms. And if you look 92 ka paper, they have asked you write a short note on Trepen concept. I will not explain you what is a Trepen concept. So take down. Most of the topography of the earth has been produced due to numerous cycles of erosion. There are very few landforms which are an outcome of only a single cycle of erosion. Next point, the landforms are classified into simple landforms, second, compound landforms, third, monocyclic landforms, fourth, polycyclic or multicyclic landforms, and fifth, exhumed or resurrected landforms. Can anyone tell me the English meaning of the word resurrection? Something like rejuvenation. Something is destroyed. हम MS धोनी के लिए यूज करते हैं और पहले सचिन तेंदुलकर के लिए यूज करते थे. उस form was gone. People asked them to retire. They suddenly came after a break and hits a century. And you said Naya Avatar of the Dhoni. Fine. So for example, if he is criticized by everyone for playing with Bangladesh at a very slow speed, and in the next match, I guess today's match itself, Dhoni ne kuch kar diya kamal, you will say resurrection of MS Dhoni. The resurrection means Naya Avatar, new, something which comes back. अब landform कैसे नया अवतार में आएगा? Landform was not present, it was below the sea. Something happened, landform came out of the sea. then it is known as resurrection. Resurrected landforms will be due to change in the sea level. Getting it? So, suppose resurrection, when it will happen? Due to global warming, sea level increases. Entire Bangladesh is lost. Entire coastal India is lost. And then suppose after 120, 1 lakh year, a new ice age comes. Then sea level will fall down. When the sea level will fall down, वहाँ के people will study and say, अरे this is one country Bangladesh. एक city मिल गई ढाका, एक city मिल गई बॉम्बे, एक city मिल गई चेन्नई. Then it is a resurrection. Getting it? So how many types of landforms? See, it is very simple. Simple landforms. Simple के बाद compound और complex landforms. उसके बाद monocyclic, polycyclic, and fifth is resurrected. Now, what will be the simple landforms? Only one geomorphic process is operating. What will be the compound or complex landforms? More than one geomorphic process is operating today. What will be monocyclic landform? It has gone through only one cycle of erosion. Maybe only river has acted on that. What is a compound landform? It has gone to multiple cycles of erosion. River thi, then it went below the sea, then glaciers came, it came out of glaciers and resurrected or exhumed topography. Now take simple landform. Take an example of North India. Is only one geomorphic process operating on North India? No. Summers mein heat is there, so temperature is destroying the rocks. Winters mein snowfall or very cold weather is destroying the rocks. What happens due to cold weather? In the cold weather, during the night, there are dew drops. Water gets condensed. Water will enter the cracks. In Hindi, you will call this dew drops as os. And that, once it goes into the cracks, because the rock is very, very cold, os or that dew will get frozen into frost, ya pala. Once it gets frozen into frost, it will expand in volume. फिर वो रॉक की क्रैक बढ़ेगी, इट विल स्टिल गो बिलो एंड दस द रॉक्स विल गेट ऑन डिस्ट्रॉइंग. व्हाट हैपेंस इन द समर सीजन? दिन में हीट बहुत ज़्यादा है, so rocks expand, and if evening mein there is sudden rainfall, rocks will contract. Sudden expansion and contraction, you know what happens? Cold glass mein if you put hot water, crack, rocks will crack. Same concept is same. Why? The cold glass is in contracted state. If you put suddenly a hot water, it will expand and it will crack. So you will not find a single landform in the world जिसके ऊपर एक ही process operate होता है. क्यों? Because climate change होता है. None of the regions of the world has only one climate. Even the polar region has summers जिसमें ice will melt. So which landforms do not exist in reality? Simple landforms. Which landforms will be there in reality? All. Compound landforms, this. Monocyclic landforms, this. Polycyclic landforms, plateau. Getting it? Peninsular plateau. Exhumed surfaces नहीं करना है. फाइन, वो शॉर्ट नोट अलग आएगा, उसके लिए आपको सेकंड साइकिल ऑफ इरोजन पढ़ना पड़ेगा. फाइन, एक्ज्यूम्ड अभी हम नहीं करेंगे. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू द एक्ज्यूम्ड लैंडफॉर्म. यू आर जस्ट राइटिंग दिस शॉर्ट नोट. सो व्हाट वी सी इन रियलिटी इज कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी. फाइन, सो सिंपल प्रोसेस, सिंपल लैंडफॉर्म्स, simple landforms are the product of only one geomorphic process. Are the product of only one geomorphic process. Compound landforms are the product of two or more geomorphic processes. Two or more geomorphic processes. Most of the landforms in the world, or even you can write very directly all the landforms in the world. ऐसा नहीं कि most, all the landforms in the world. कौन सा होगा? Simple और compound? Are compound landforms. Getting it? North India, if you say Delhi may be climate changes. So sometimes sun is acting, sometimes rain is acting, so there cannot be simple landforms. Processes are changing. All the landforms in the world are compound landforms because sometimes water acts while during the dry season wind or glacier may act. Wind or glacier may act. Wind or glacier may act. Monocyclic landforms are those which are produced during a single cycle of erosion. During a single cycle of erosion. What is the difference between process and cycle of process? Process is acting. Cycle of process goes through youth, mature and old age. पूरा खत्म हो रहा है. So is Great Plains of India monocyclic या polycyclic? You cannot even say that properly. Why? Because Great Plains of India, when I say, it is divided into Punjab Plains, Rajasthan, Kutch region of Gujarat, Haryana Plains, Ganga Plains, fine, Brahmaputra Plains. Himalaya, though you already know that they are not monocyclic because Himalayas was once an ocean, then it became a land. ये monocyclic you can say to some extent, but Punjab, Rajasthan, etc. not, because this was once a sea. Then it got converted into land. अब it has gone through entire one cycle of erosion. उससे पहले कितने cycle of erosion हुए थे? We don't know because there is limitation of technology that you cannot study whatever has occurred on the earth before 6 million years, because right now technology is such, computer modeling is such, we can know the history of the earth only properly up to 600 million years ago. What is the age of the earth? So ये भी नहीं है क्योंकि Aravallis are definitely older than 600 million years ago. Aravallis are the first fold mountains of the world, याद रखना. First fold mountains of the world जो यहाँ पे है. So scientists get baffled कि जब यहाँ पे, which is the Great Plains of India, 3 साल पहले एक डायनासोर का फॉसिल मिला, उसका टेल ही मिला, which was somewhere around 26 meters long. But वो डायनासोर सिर्फ it is found only in the oceans. और मिला कहाँ पे? In Punjab. Fine, that means this was below the sea. Kutch region, white sands क्यों है? Sea. It was once below the sea, so आज भी salt comes up from the sea. Salt, water gets evaporated, salt remains giving sand white color. So we don't have. India में तो it is not there. India is highly complex. We have the youngest fold mountains. You have the most fertile plains in the world. You have one of the largest desert in the world. You have one of the oldest rocks in the world. You have volcanoes also here, volcanic evidence also. So what we find in India is climate which is minus 60 degrees Celsius, Kargil region, which is at the poles. Fine. Climate which is 52 degrees Celsius, which should be in the Africa. Rainfall If you look here, the highest rainfall in the world, semi-arid landscape, matlab Marathwada region. So you will find in India all the climatic conditions that are present from poles to the equator, and इसीलिए you will see the imprint of India is so complex. Cheetah is an animal of grasslands. We had cheetah in India, we destroyed it. Rhino is an animal of grassland. Rhino, is it present in India? Yes, Assam. But once upon a time, ये पूरे region में rhino था. We have destroyed the forest due to agriculture. Tiger is an Asian animal, it is found in India. Lion is an African animal, it is found in India. Why? Climate has changed. So all the animals can adjust to India. Leopard found in India. Flying fox found in India. Flying squirrel found in India. Ostrich not found in India. Emu to some extent, but ostrich-like animal, great Indian bustard found in India. Getting it? That shows India has each and every climatic type. Getting it? Impress turtle yesterday found in India. Which state? Arunachal Pradesh. It is the largest turtle or second largest turtle? Second largest turtle. So वो fact, impress, which was recently in news, is a species of animal found in which state? ये fact prelims के लिए याद रखना. Fine? कल एक turtle मिला, not tortoise मिला, not turtle. Turtle तो पिछले साल मिला था. So tortoise mila, which is only the second tortoise which is found locally in India, and that uska name is Impress. Fine. It is found in northeast because northeast has largest number of tortoises. Turtle, last year we had. What was uska name? You must have prepared for prelims. North River terrapin. Northern River terrapin. It had found. We had found in India. So you remember कि monocyclic landscape जो नहीं मिलता मत लिखो एग्जाम में. They are very rare. Polycyclic, yes. Fine. So monocyclic landscapes. Monocyclic landscapes are extremely rare. Monocyclic landscapes are extremely rare and very localized. They are not found in large. They are very localized. Restricted to newly created landscapes. Restricted to newly created landscapes. Newly created landscapes. So Himalayas में there is only one cycle of erosion. If you consider Himalayas as a newly created landscape, forget कि it was below the oceans etc. It has newly been created. अभी तक it is going only through one cycle of erosion which has not even been completed. But it is not simple. It is compound. क्योंकि glacier is also acting and the river is also acting. Getting it? Simple compound is a different concept. Compound में monocyclic, polycyclic or exhumed. It is like this. Polycyclic landscapes are very common. Polycyclic landscapes are very common because majority of Earth has gone through, Earth's surface has gone through more than one cycle of erosion. One cycle of erosion. This is due to sub point number 1. This is due to fluctuations in the climatic conditions. Such as alternate warm period followed by glaciated period. such as alternate warm period followed by period of glaciation, followed by the period of glaciation. हमेशा अर्थ देखो, अर्थ हमेशा will be warm because it is warm. Why it is warm? Because heat is there inside the earth. This heat will be given out through mountains in the form of volcanoes. जितना ज़्यादा heat is given out, उतना ज़्यादा dust, जितना powerful is the volcano, उतना more dust will be released, and this dust will be spreading in the atmosphere. Once this dust spreads in the atmosphere, it will block the sunlight, and then there will be cold period. So what had happened? Up to volcanoes have become cold, but when the earth was very, very hot, large scale volcanic eruptions occurred during a period Cretaceous. And after the Cretaceous period, there was so much dust in the world that Pleistocene Ice Age came. This is how alternate warm and dry period goes. Fine? So if there is large scale volcano, last year there was one volcano jiska only small part erupted. If you have studied for prelims, you must have studied it is a volcano in Indonesia which erupted, Anak Krakatau. Anak Krakatau means, Ana means child of Krakatau erupted. Tsunami was there, killing some 200-300 people. Fine? And it also resulted into settling of the dust. Jab original Krakatoa had erupted, Ana means child of Krakatoa. This is a huge mountain below the sea, Krakatoa, and it has numerous small volcanic vents. So उसमें से एक small volcanic vent erupted. Fine? When last time in the recorded history of the earth, original Krakatoa erupted, कहाँ पे है Krakatoa? Indonesia. उसका particles were thrown right up to Chennai. उसका sound was heard in USA. It is so powerful volcano, and it gave out so much amount of dust कि अगले 20 साल Earth received 2% less sunlight. 2% less sunlight means enough for snow to be formed. Getting it? So imagine all the mountains like Krakatoa erupting, क्या होगा? Ice age. This is how Pleistocene Ice Age was formed. So once Pleistocene Ice Age was formed, फिर rainfall हुआ, dust निकल गई, क्या हुआ फिर से? Hot climate. So this is how Earth alternatively goes through. अब we are warming, there will be so much pollution, फिर से we will be blocking the sunlight. It will be followed by Ice Age. So global warming का एक small, you will do this in GS. Global warming का एक small phenomena is global cooling. I have taught them today itself, but we have not done in detail. Whenever there is pollution, there is global cooling. Right? Global cooling, less sunlight. Yes, it will shift. Yes. Example, during the Pleistocene, Pleistocene is an ice age. कुछ नया पढ़ना नहीं होता, वही वर्ड्स होते हैं प्लिस्टोसिन, क्रेटेशियस, कैम्ब्रियन, प्री कैम्ब्रियन, 4-5 ही वर्ड्स है. यू शुड जस्ट नो वेयर टू यूज व्हाट वर्ड इन द आंसर. यू आर नॉट सपोज टू नो द एंटायर जियोलॉजिकल हिस्ट्री. एग्जाम्पल्स वही 4-5 घूम के, ऐसा नहीं है कि यू हैव टू रो सेनोजोइक, मेसोजोइक, एसोजोइक, होलोसिन, कुछ नहीं. बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट प्रीलिम्स कि इट इज गोइंग टू चेक योर फैक्चुअल नॉलेज. दिस इज मेन्स. यू हैव टू शो योर नॉलेज. शो जो हमने लिया है वही शो करेंगे, नॉट व्हाट दे आर चेकिंग. यू शुड नो द ऑब्वियसली कंसेप्ट, यू शुड नो, बट वही चीज़ें. मैं आपको और 3-4 ग्लेशियल पीरियड दे सकता हूँ, वृष, वरुण, फिर कल क्लास खाली हो जाएगी. फाइन, जिसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है. यू विल फाइंड इट इज सो कॉम्प्लेक्स देन. गेटिंग इट? सो इफ यू वांट टू स्कोर because today one person was asking me, and that's why I am telling this, one person was asking me after the class, sir, I am finding it very complex because मुझे पढ़ने में time नहीं मिल रहा है. मतलब what you do? He's attending one optional का class somewhere outside, then is attending our GS का class. मतलब what is then what you do? No sir, I have to read Mint, I have to read Hindu, I have to read Express, then I watch Rajya Sabha TV for 3 hours, and then I listen to the radio discussion, and then I cannot find the time to do Insight and IS Baba. I said, cut down the sources. Rajya Sabha TV, if somebody is watching for 3 hours, is it need of the exam? What he watches in Rajya Sabha TV? India Nama, Big Picture, Insight or जो thing और E-Vidnyan. मुझे वो प्रोग्राम भी है राज्यसभा टीवी में पता नहीं था, ई विज्ञान. ही गेव मी द लिस्ट ऑफ 5 programs daily. And then news, radio news different. Who will find the time? We are not Superman, fine, to do all these things. So you should not be doing this. Then obviously you will get confused. You cut down the source, read it again and again, and you see even this year's prelims is and even the last year's prelims is or the mains is key. Cut down the source, do the limited source again and again, you can easily clear the examination. Because what he is doing is he is listening to all the programs for 3 hours. He is doing that on daily basis. Good, it is giving him thought. But after 6 months, as he is not able to make notes of any single thing, he will not remember anything. ठीक है, you are listening to a program on daily basis, but you don't have, will you remember after 3 months? इतना ज़्यादा information overload कि आपका सर फट जाएगा. Fine? So the same thing is happening. एक पेपर पढ़ा नहीं जाता, यहाँ पे 3 पेपर, हिंदू, मिंट एंड एक्सप्रेस. फाइन. सो ऐसे नहीं होती पढ़ाई, लिमिटेड रखो. हम सिर्फ 3 एग्जाम्पल रखेंगे, क्रेटेशियस, वॉल्केनोस्काइमी, प्लिस्टोसिन आइस एज के लिए, प्री कैम्ब्रियन खरावलिस के लिए, बाकी नहीं. गेटिंग इट? और एक ही एग्जाम्पल, छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू. कहीं पे भी आया पॉलीसाइक्लिक रिलीफ, इंडियन प्लाटू और छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू. गेटिंग इट? क्यों? सविंद्र सिंह ने भी वही एग्जाम्पल यूज किए, सारे बुक्स ने वही एग्जाम्पल यूज किए. अदरवाइज बुक जीसी लियोंग जैसे बन जाती है, एक मलेशिया का एग्जाम्पल, एक यूके का एग्जाम्पल, देन यू डोंट रीड जीसी लियोंग. हैव यू एवर ट्राइड रीडिंग जीसी लियोंग? सो देयर आर सो मेनी एग्जाम्पल्स, कुछ नहीं याद रहता. नो, डोंट डू दैट. फाइन. During the Pleistocene period, nearly 75% of the Earth's surface was under glaciers. Nearly 75% of the Earth's surface was under glaciers. And hence have the imprint or impression of glacial cycle, hence have imprint or impression of glacial cycles. After the Pleistocene, majority of the glaciers retreated, they went back, and today they are found only in the polar regions. Retreated, and today retreated means went back, and today they are found only in the polar regions. And hence the other regions have the impressions of present day climate. Getting this? Sub point 2. Many older landforms, have more than one cycle of erosion because of change in the sea level. Change in the sea level and subsequent river rejuvenation. Subsequent to river rejuvenation. You know what is a river? Do you know what is rejuvenation in English? Rejuvenation means दोबारा क्या? Energy मिलना. Rejuvenate होना. You get rejuvenated. You get more energy. Now imagine a river. It starts from the glacier. It is having more energy. It is coming down with great speed. Erosion is greater. Energy means erosion is more. It comes into the plains. उसका speed decreases. उसका erosion capacity decreases. And it comes into the still flatter land because it meets the sea, uska erosion capacity further decreases. Fine. This is our imaginary landform, and this is what one cycle of erosion will be. Getting it? And this is all the sea. Now, for the river to increase uska erosion capacity, what should increase? Speed should increase. Speed increases of a river during the floods, and इसलिए floods में इतना ज़्यादा नुकसान होता है because erosion capacity increases. But floods is a very temporary phenomena which occurs every year. Sometimes the speed also increases due to large scale global changes which causes rise or fall in the sea level. Rise in the sea level may be caused due to melting of the glaciers. For example, 1 degree Celsius increase in the temperature will increase the sea level by 10 millimeters. ज़्यादा नहीं है. If 1 degree Celsius, अगर आज से if the 1 degree Celsius temperature increase, the sea level is going to increase by 10 millimeters. But now listen to this statistics. For every 1 millimeter change in the sea level, 700 million people are displaced. So if the sea level increases by 10 millimeters, how many people will be displaced? 7,000 million people. Hence, there will be no people on the earth. Getting it? So that is why it is a serious issue. It is projected that by 2050, if we continue the same pollution and the same level of global warming, the temperature is going to rise by 3 degrees Celsius. Already the temperature has increased in India by 1.5. So हमें और सिर्फ 1.5 degree Celsius से increase करना है. The day temperature increases by 3 degrees Celsius, what will be below the sea? Entire Bangladesh, entire Kolkata, Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Kerala, entire coastal Karnataka, entire Mumbai, and entire Daman, Diu, Gujarat ka coast. In India, in the world, New York, Washington, London, all this will be below the sea, completely below the sea. So, don't go कि 3 डिग्री सेल्सियस से क्या होगा, कल तो 45 डिग्रीज था, आज 48 डिग्रीज है, मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. दिस दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द ग्लोबल एवरेज टेम्परेचर. रिमेंबर 3 degree Celsius average means India met the temperature increases somewhat around 12 to 13 degrees Celsius. इसका मतलब during the summers when the temperature should be 40 degrees Celsius, it is 52 degrees Celsius, and during the heat waves when the temperature is 48 degrees Celsius, it is 60 degrees Celsius is death. No humans can survive in 60 degrees Celsius. So this is caused. So remember, this is what is the global change. Sea level may rise. Similarly, during the ice age, sea level will fall. So imagine what would have happened if the sea level has fallen. Now this, during the ice age, this is where the sea level came. And because during this, the sea level came, what has increased? The speed of a river has increased. The speed of a river has increased, therefore uska erosion capacity has increased. यहाँ पे तो already the erosion capacity is high. Where the erosion capacity will be high? In the flat region. And as the erosion capacity is high, this landform will be eroded more. And because this is eroded more, it will be eroded till the sea level. So the original landform which was there, it will be destroyed, and this is where the landform will be there. Now because of this, when the speed of a river is less, what do we find? V-shaped valleys or meanders? We will find meanders. Getting it? But now the speed of a river is increased. पहले यहाँ पे when the river was flowing through this, there was meanders. Now the speed of a river has increased, so river का erosion has increased. River will form V-shaped valleys inside the meanders. Getting it? There was a meandering. Fine. When the river was depositing, there was U-shaped valley. Ab the speed of a river has increased. Why? Due to fall in the sea level. Now because the speed of a river has increased, river का erosion capacity has increased, and now river will cut, which was the meander here, एक ऐसा U-shaped valley था, उसको river will cut, and it will form a V-shaped valley inside the U-shaped valley. This we will further study much later as entrenched or incised meanders, or meanders inside meander. But this is an evidence of erosion. Second evidence of erosion is waterfalls. There will be always waterfall either in the mountains, or if there is a waterfall in the plateau, that means it has gone through more than one cycle of erosion. Getting it? Where do you find all these things? In the polycyclic land things. Why I am telling you all these things? Because these things are very common in पांच बार पानी के नीचे, पानी के ऊपर, पानी के नीचे, पानी के ऊपर. This region has went, and therefore the best evidence is anywhere in the world where you have polycyclic relief is the Chota Nagpur plateau. Chota Nagpur plateau went below the water. Most of the vegetation got converted into coal. It is the oldest rock. You find iron ore. It went through a middle phase. You find manganese. So you study in GS. Tell me a single mineral which is not found in the Chota Nagpur plateau. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, southern Bihar. You will find everything there. Q. Climate has changed. Erosion of the rocks have changed, and therefore variation. When a life goes below the fresh water, coal. When the life goes below the marine water, petroleum. यहाँ पे it has gone below the fresh water, below the rivers. So you find this as the region of Gondwana, coal. This as the region of raw iron ore. Why iron ore? Because already this is the oldest rock. Getting it? And you will find numerous waterfalls in the Chota Nagpur plateau region. Dasam falls we will do over the period of time. Agar zarurat padi to. You will find gold over there. You will find so many rivers over there region. In fact, this region of India is known as the land of Pat land, not required, or Pat matlab plateaus, छोटे plateaus, or fall line of India. How do you understand this in GS? You understand this in GS in simple way कि गोदावरी तो यहाँ से जा रही है. Krishna is going here. Chota Nagpur plateau is this region. It is falling, sloping towards the east. इसलिए महानदी, Subarnarekha, Damodar, they flow in the eastern direction. When or Son, they flow in the eastern direction, and they don't flow normally. They flow through waterfalls. इसलिए हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. कोल भी है, आयरन भी है, हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी है, देयरफॉर इंडस्ट्रीज. गेटिंग इट? Therefore, industries are found in this region. But ये सब जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी के आंसर में नहीं लिखना है. This is just a relation I am telling you why it is there. Getting it? You have to just remember this thing. So, river rejuvenation, subsequent river rejuvenation, that is increase in the erosion capacity of a river. ये अलग से हम टॉपिक पढ़ेंगे. It is in our syllabus separately. Increase in the erosion capacity of a river. Erosion capacity, intensity भी, capacity भी of a river. Or in other words, old topography becomes young again. Old topography becomes young again. Example, छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू. Example, छोटा नागपुर प्लाटू. Which has features such as, सिर्फ नाम लिखो, अभी कुछ नहीं समझेगा. Which has features such as meanders, valley, in valley topography, this is a separate topic which we'll study as second cycle of erosion. Conclusion, thus due to the dynamic nature of the earth's surface, is the dynamic nature of earth's surface, along with changes in the climate, position of the continents have contributed to the complexity of changes in the position of the continents have contributed to the complexity of geomorphic processes. Getting it? वैसे तो लॉज 10 है, बट ऑल आर नॉट रेलिवेंट फ्रॉम द एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. फाइन, सो दिस आर मोर देन इम्पॉर्टेंट. इसके आगे का एक लॉ है दैट मच ऑफ द अर्थ्स प्रेजेंट डे लैंड सरफेस इज यंग एंड इट इज नॉट ओल्डर देन द प्लीस्टोसिन. कोई ज़रूरत नहीं उसकी. फाइन. उसके बाद का लॉ है टू अंडरस्टैंड जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी one has to know completely, one has to appreciate the changes in the world climates. उसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है. उसके बाद का लॉ है there is one more law which says that the study of present day geomorphology has to take into account historical changes. We already take into account the historical changes. So these are the questions which are not going to come because they are not specifically mentioned in our syllabus. These are the laws which are concerned with the cycle of erosion which is mentioned in our syllabus. Getting it? And now we come to the easy topic, that is the So can you tell me how is the earth? Can I say earth is divided into layers? The interior, the outermost layer is known as crust. Is the crust very thick or very thin? The crust is very thin. No need of drawing this diagram. ये कुछ काम का नहीं. This is for your understanding. So surrounding the crust is mantle. So upper part is crust. Next part is mantle. And lastly, the inside का part is known as core. The crust is further divided into continents. This is the continental crust and the oceans. The continental crust and the oceans. Continental crust and the oceanic crust. Now, as you can see in the diagram, the continental crust is at a greater height as compared to the oceanic crust. Why? Because the continental crust has less density. Because it has less density, therefore it floats or it is up. The one which is more denser, it sinks. Why does it sink? Because uska density is greater, and because uska density is greater, it was much, there was stronger pull of gravity on the greater density and wo chala gaya, it collapsed. And then there was centuries of rainfall which resulted into the formation of, you can say, oceans in this. So majority of the earth is under the oceans. And iske upar on the continents we are living. Now this mantle is further divided into upper part which is not liquid but elastic or jelly like in nature, and this is what is known as asthenosphere. क्या होता है in the asthenosphere? The temperature is so high, 6000 degrees Celsius, that most of the metals, most of the rocks are in a molten state, but they are not completely in the liquid state. They are more like a jelly, semi-solid state. And this, when the earth cools, ये प्रेशर देते हैं ऑन द वीकर रॉक्स, दे ब्लो द वीकर रॉक्स एंड दस एस्थेनोस्फीयर में से मैग्मा कम्स अप एंड इट कॉजेस वॉल्केनिक इरप्शन. सो दिस एस्थेनोस्फीयर, रिमेंबर, इज जेली. Then there is a lower part of the mantle and ultimately there is a core, and in this core there are two parts, that is the inner and the outer. Now what happens as we go down, the temperature goes on increasing. It is increases somewhere to around 1 degree Celsius for every 32 meters. 1 degree Celsius for every 32 meters. So what is the radius of the earth? The radius of the earth is 6371 kilometers or 6400 kilometers. So 1 degree, if it is increasing for every 32 meters, imagine what will be the temperature in the interior of the earth. Because of very high temperature, outer core is liquid in nature. I am using the word liquid, I am using the word jelly like in nature. Fine. This outer core is made up of mostly nickel. Core is mostly made up of iron and nickel, outer core is mostly made up of nickel, while the inner core is mostly made up of iron. Because iron is more denser, वो और नीचे चला गया. It has settled down. And because it has settled down, even at high temperature it does not melt, and therefore inner core is solid in nature. So we have solid crust, we have jelly-like asthenosphere, we have solid mantle, we have liquid outer core, we have solid inner core. So which part of the earth is liquid in nature? Only the outer core. Now why this has occurred? Because earth came out of some primordial matter, Big Bang theory, jo kuch bhi hai, Kant hypothesis, not in our syllabus. So that is why I asked you not to read any of those chapters from the Savindra Singh. It started cooling. When it started cooling, when anything cools, what happens is the denser the material, it will settle down. Lighter material will start floating upwards. कुछ भी cool करके देखो आप, चाहे अंडा cool करके देखो या चाय cool करके देखो या कुछ भी, the denser particles are going to go and settle down. If you take unfiltered tea, जो टी लीव्स है वो जाके नीचे सेटल हो जाएंगे. इफ यू हैव कॉफी, फिल्टर कॉफी, द फिल्टर कॉफी का सेडिमेंट्स विल गो एंड सेटल डाउन एट द बॉटम ऑफ अ कप इफ इट स्टार्ट्स कूलिंग डाउन. Getting it? So similarly, which was the most denser? Iron and nickel was most denser. It went and settled down at the bottom, forming the core. Then the lighter material, magnesium, iron, some part of the mixture of iron, magnesium and iron went and settled and it formed the mantle. Ande mein white part, ande mein yellow part. And the lightest material, which is made up of aluminum and silica, which is that is mostly, it formed the crust. But crust maybe there were two parts. One of the crust had dominance of aluminum along with silica. We will call this as a Sial layer. One of the part of the crust had dominance of magnesium along with silica. We will call this as a Sima layer. Magnesium is more denser than aluminum. So magnesium नीचे जाके settle हो गया, बन गया oceanic crust, and aluminum became continental crust. So if somebody asks you, Mount Everest is more denser या Indian Ocean का crust is more denser? Indian Ocean का crust. So the Britishers when they came to India, especially Sir George Everest, जिनके ऊपर नाम is there Mount Everest, when he came to India, he was the first chief of Geological Survey of India. Remember this. He saw Mount Everest and he was impressed कि इतना proper mountain, इतना dense mountain, इतना strong mountain Himalayas. He thought that there will be extreme gravitational pull of the Himalayas on the people of India. Then he started measuring the gravitational pull on the people of India, and जो उसने theoretical calculation किया था कि this is the rocks, this is what is there, the gravitational pull of Himalayas should be stronger. In reality, the results were not seen. If he thought XYZ should be gravitational pull of the Himalayas on India, in reality it was very, very less. And then they came to a conclusion that Sial is lighter than Sima. And therefore, this is nothing but the theory of isostasy. But how do we understand this? Is the structure of the interior of the earth. We will understand the structure of the interior of the earth through two concepts. One of the concept is of Sir Edward Suez. Divided the earth into three basic layers: Sial, Sima, and Knife or Nephe layer. What is Sial? So he took the earth and he said the uppermost layer is made up of Sial and it consists of the mountains, etc., and it consists of the continents. The Sial is floating on the Sima. So this is what is the Sial layer. And it is floating on the Sima. And this is what is the Sima layer. And uske niche was the next layer, that is the Knife. Why Sial? Because most of the mineral that was present was silica and aluminum. Why Sima? Silica and magnesium. Why Knife? Nickel and iron. These are the three layers of the interior of the earth, and you draw this diagram. Question will be direct. Write a short note on the interior of the earth, or write a short note on the physical conditions of the interior of the earth. Fine. यहाँ से इनडायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा. इतने क्लास में अभी तक हमने कोई इंडियन जोग्राफर नहीं किया है, बिकॉज जोग्राफी हैज नॉट डेवलप्ड इन इंडिया एज सच. हाउ कैन जोग्राफी डेवलप इन इंडिया व्हेन इंद्र इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर रेनफॉल, व्हेन वायु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर विंड, राइट? ऑल आर गॉड्स. But this is not the case. It has not developed in India because संस्कृत टेक्स्ट को कभी ट्रांसलेट होने नहीं दिया to maintain a dominance of certain caste. So ultimately Arabs took those and translated them and gave the theory of monsoon. German took those and gave the entire theory of physical geography. Everything was written in Indian geography. The calculation of the equator and the radius of the earth, which was done by Indians, are exactly what is done by the computers today. Not Galileo, not Aristotle, but उनका नाम फेमस हो गया हमारा हिस्ट्री में, ये हो गया. Getting it? Can I continue? Which? So, Sial layer. Sial layer. It is dominated by silica and aluminum. Silica and aluminum, having an average density of 2.7 grams per centimeter cube. Having an average density of 2.7 grams per centimeter cube. 2.7 grams per centimeter cube. Thickness, even in the exam you can write this answer only in points. इसमें कुछ ये नहीं. Thickness is between 30 to 50 kilometers over continents, and between 0 to 5 kilometers over oceans. So कहाँ पे थिक है सियाल? ओवर द कॉन्टिनेंट्स और ओशंस? ओवर द कॉन्टिनेंट्स. व्हाट इज प्रेजेंट बिलो द सियाल? सीमा. व्हाट इज प्रेजेंट इन द सीमा? मतलब मैंटल, एस्थेनोस्फीयर, दैट इज द फायर. So that fire or mantle or asthenosphere can easily break Sial or Sima. Sima. Why? Because it is either 0 or 5. So volcanoes will be more in below the oceans or on the continents, below the oceans. Getting it? Why? Because it is very, very thin. Volcanoes are absent in Himalayas. क्योंकि highest mountain in the world, मतलब Sial यहाँ पे is very, very thick. World में the continental crust is 30 kilometers. Below the Himalayas it is 70 kilometers. It is so thick. So obviously volcanoes cannot escape. That fire inside the earth cannot escape. इसलिए हम पढ़ते हैं volcanoes are absent in Himalayas. They are mostly present जहाँ पे sea है. So Andaman and Nicobar have volcanoes. Hawaii have volcanoes. Mid-Atlantic ridge has volcanoes. Krakatoa is below the sea, have volcanoes. Getting it? Continental crust is made up of Cl and it is dominated by granitic rocks. The granitic rocks. It is dominated by the granitic rocks. See, rocks, weathering, एक्सेट्रा ये अपने सिलेबस में नहीं है, ये सब जीएस में है. सो रॉक स्पिक्स का हैंडआउट्स आई विल गिव यू. अगर टाइम मिला, अगर रेफरेंस के लिए पढ़ना है देन स्टडी, अदरवाइज नो नीड ऑफ स्टडिंग. फाइन, यू कैन जस्ट डिपेंड अपॉन द क्लास नोट्स व्हाट आर देयर. Upper part of the asthenosphere is included, but this was not given by Suez, that was given by plate tectonics, so we will write there in the plate tectonics. Here we are writing the idea of Suez only. Sima, made of denser material having an average density of made up of denser material having an average density of 3 grams, not 30, okay, 3 grams per centimeter cube. Three grams per centimeter cube. Why? Because it has dominance of heavy minerals such as iron and magnesium. So because of magnesium, what are we calling it? Sima, silica and magnesium. It forms oceanic crust. And obviously mantle also forms oceanic crust and has dominance of basaltic rocks. So there are two rocks, granite and basalt. Granitic, the rocks which are similar to granite. Basaltic, the rocks which are similar to basalt. Fine. Granite, have you seen granite? Color? Light या black? Granite का color? Whitish होता है, blackish होता है? Blackish कहाँ पे देखा है granite? हाँ?